What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So yesterday, there was a lot of talk around Unreal Engine 5 from Epic Games. That included several features, learning tools, and even a game announcement that surprised a lot of people online. We're going to go over all of that here today. Also, we are going to be going over a Nintendo Switch update that released the other day that looks pretty standard at first glance, but could be a sign of things to come. And we're also going to be talking about the new Chrono version that's released, as we did get reviews dropping online. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all of the uploads here on the channel. And we're going to start today with a mobile game, but one that's actually kind of impressive, this being Rainbow Six Siege. We did have Ubisoft announce this, as well as show off a full trailer. Now, there's a site you can go to and sign up for more information, as well as a chance to play the game, I guess, early, or at least leading up to release. This is going to be a free-to-play title, kind of as we expect now with a lot of these mobile games. But the thing that was so surprising, I mean, it just looks like Rainbow Six Siege, and it's just, we're to that point now, I guess, with mobile devices, it releasing for Android and iOS phones. But after seeing the footage, I do wonder how this will specifically translate over to a smaller screen, because it looked like there was just a lot going on there. And if it is the full Rainbow Six Siege experience, or at least close to it, be interesting with touch controls. Also, maybe this is one of those games where you want to have some sort of accessory that sits around the phone, like we've seen Razer release, or maybe just sync up a controller and play that way. But again, it's interesting to see these larger console experiences head to cell phones, and I guess this being the latest one, we'll keep an eye out and see how it turns out. Also, we've been talking a lot about House of the Dead Remake leading up to its release this week, and while it's only on the Switch, or at least only announced for the Switch, looks like there could be some other versions in the works, kind of as we were expecting from Forever Entertainment. Well, this popped up over on PlayStation.com servers. We can see a little House of the Dead Remake card here. This was spotted on Reddit and then posted up by Gamatsu. The House of the Dead Remake for PS4 appears in PlayStation Network backend. So I wouldn't be shocked if this is just like a small timed exclusive for the Switch, or Forever just decided, hey, we're gonna focus specifically on the Switch version, then we'll announce a version for the PlayStation. The thing that I'm now really curious about is this going to be a game that maybe we get for PlayStation VR, or even PlayStation VR 2 for the PS5? Because that would actually be a pretty cool experience to see there in full VR, even with like the newer headset and controls coming out. So something at least keep in mind here as we go forward. Obviously, picking it up on the Switch is what you'd want to do in the short term, and that's what I'm gonna be doing here. The physical version went up as well, and then it went back down, and I think it came back up. So very spotty there if you want to get the physical copy for House of the Dead. But we should see reviews going live pretty soon, and the thing I'm most curious about are the controls for a game like this with gyro, and we're at least be hoping for a more pointer control setup. So something to keep in mind there, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if you see this pop up on the PlayStation, Xbox, basically anywhere Forever Entertainment can get it. Oh, and during that recent State of Play, there were a couple of standouts there, one of which being Trek to Yomi, and now it looks like we have the release date and a new trailer for it, which you can see here. This coming out May 5th, of course, from Devolver Digital, coming to the PlayStation 4 and PS5, Xbox Series S, X, Xbox One, and PC. Now, the art style is what really interested a lot of people when they first showed it off, it being black and white, but certainly playing into the idea of like samurai combat and everything there. So I thought it would have been cool to have like the blood spray and everything they were showing be very contrasting, like this really nice bright red color. But again, in art direction, they decided to go in here, keeping it all black and white, playing into, I guess, the older like cinematography and all of this from like different films and everything. But I am still very interested in it. I'll be picking it up when it comes out May 5th. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Epic Games and Unreal Engine 5. Now, the biggest promotion we've really seen for Unreal Engine 5 outside of the tech demos that Epic teamed up with like Sony to do for the PlayStation 5 is Fortnite, them talking about how Fortnite's making the move to Unreal Engine 5. Well, they had actually a pretty big like live stream, and they showed off Unreal Engine 5 from a couple of different developers, as well as just release it to developers now. You can see this posted up over on Twitter. It's true. We're making Unreal Engine 5.0 available to all developers today. They go on to say, with the start of Chapter 3, Fortnite game flipped to Unreal Engine 5, giving players their first taste of these powerful new features. And alongside of Unreal Engine 5, they're shipping a new starter game, which will let you basically just edit and play around with the game they've already at least set up, which is actually a pretty cool way to at least help people learn this engine. There was also like this entire tech demo that the Coalition showed off, and I think the Coalition is going to do some very impressive stuff with Unreal Engine 5. I mean, just some of the video they showed, yes, it's a tech demo, so games aren't necessarily going to look that good on something like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. However, we assume Coalition is doing another Gears of War game, at least until they tell us otherwise. Maybe they could be working on a new IP, but they're very familiar with Unreal Engine 4 as they used that with some of the previous Gears of War games, and they did mention they are moving to Unreal Engine 5, just kind of showing things off here with this latest tech demo partnered with Epic. But the big reveal from this entire showcase that I saw a lot of people talking about and got me pretty excited is that there is a new Tomb Raider game that is going into active development using Unreal Engine 5. We can see this posted up again on Tomb Raider, saying Crystal Dynamics is incredibly excited about the future of Unreal and how it will help us take our storytelling to the next level. That's why we're proud to announce that our next Tomb Raider game is being built on Unreal Engine 5. And this is particularly interesting because remember, Crystal Dynamics is currently working with the Initiative on Perfect Dark, and now we're also seeing Crystal Dynamics start up development for a brand new Tomb Raider game with Unreal Engine 5. And goes a bit further, it looks like Jeff Ross, who was the game director for Days Gone, is actually joining Crystal Dynamics to work on building this. Says, I'm excited to announce I now work at the amazing Crystal Dynamics as design director. That's all I can say other than I'm thrilled with the project and especially the team of really wonderful people. Now, Crystal Dynamics worked on Tomb Raider 2013 and Rise of the Tomb Raider. They were the leads for those games. For Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Eidos Montreal was the lead there, and I believe Crystal Dynamics ran support and just helped out for the most part. So I didn't like Shadow of the Tomb Raider as much as Tomb Raider 2013 and certainly not Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I think out of the three is the best one. So I'm excited to see Crystal Dynamics go back as a lead developer and team for a new Tomb Raider game using Unreal Engine 5. We've seen the potential for this engine just through tech demos, and I'm waiting to have that big aha moment in a game for Unreal Engine 5, and hearing that Tomb Raider could give it to us with Crystal Dynamics is exciting stuff. The only problem is, yeah, it sounds like this is like just getting started. It's gonna be years before we even see this game. In fact, it kind of sounds like the announcement of this game was to recruit people to come in and help develop it, as the hiring process for games and studios in general is becoming very difficult. So one way to get people on board, or at least maybe win out over other positions, is to reveal what your project is and see if people are interested in showing up and saying, yeah, I would like to develop Tomb Raider rather than an unannounced AAA action adventure game. But either way, it's good to see Unreal Engine 5 is now out there in the wild for all the developers to take advantage of and create with, and hearing that there is a new Tomb Raider game, again, very exciting. I'm just happy that Crystal Dynamics hasn't necessarily fallen off of Square's radar after what happened with the Avengers, and they're going to give them another shot at something like a new Tomb Raider. So we'll just keep an eye out for it, but it's going to be a little while before we see, I think, anything around this game. Next up, let's talk about a new update for the Nintendo Switch, that being firmware 14.1.0. It's out now, so go update your Switch. But as I was looking through the notes, I kind of initially was like, all right, it doesn't seem much at all, really. But then I thought about it a bit more, and I said, you know what? This could be Nintendo setting things up potentially for an achievement system, maybe far off in the future, but take a look at this here. This posted up with the notes for the patch saying Platinum Point notification settings has been added under notifications in system settings. Unclaimed Platinum Points earned from completing Nintendo Switch Online missions on your Nintendo Switch system will generate notifications. So essentially, consider you're going through and maybe doing one of the tasks with the missions that they have in kind of that section on Nintendo Switch Online. You don't realize you're completing it, but it sort of just pops up and is like, hey, you got these platinum points that you can now spend after you completed this task. That does kind of feel like an achievement system that we have now with two other systems, that being the Xbox and the PlayStation. And I have thought more and more about Nintendo maybe introducing some sort of achievement system, or at least their take on it. I think Nintendo would do some very creative stuff with it, and that's one of the reasons I would like to see Nintendo implement it. Not because I think it's necessary for games in general. I think if a game is good, you're gonna play it. You don't need to know that, oh, I'm getting these trophies or I'm getting these achievement points. I understand there are a lot of people who really like trophies and achievements. I used to be really into achievements and doing all of that, kind of fell out of it over time. And even going back and playing GameCube games, like I don't really go, oh, there's no achievements or trophies here. But I think the pull is strong enough for a lot of people that it would actually benefit Nintendo to implement them. However, the one thing that I think has kind of kept Nintendo away from doing it, at least at a system level, is the fact that they haven't really had a universal account system that would be able to transfer these achievements over. Until now, they have their Nintendo online account system that seems like they're setting it up to be something that will transfer to the next system and the next system and basically have your gaming history. So why not come up with your own set of achievements, or at least an achievement system? And having notifications pop up for platinum points, I think that's at least an early indication that Nintendo is experimenting with this, or I'm just reading too much into this. I don't know, let me know what you think. Would Nintendo say, hey, let's start to work out these achievements, maybe in games at first, like Luigi's Mansion 3, which does have achievements built into the game, and then we'll try the platinum points thing with notifications, and then maybe we'll finally introduce a full-blown achievement system. Next up, let's talk about new additions to Game Pass with the month of April now in full swing. There are several titles that are going to be heading to the service over the next couple of weeks, and we'll head over here to news.xbox.com. It has a nice little card at the top showing off all of the games, and we'll of course go down with the different dates and platforms and all that, starting with Cricket 22, that's cloud and console. MLB The Show 22, that's cloud and console. This is obviously good to see this continuing along, because I think yearly sports titles in general work well for these day one releases and subscriptions, since, I mean, they depreciate so fast. It's good to just kind of have them pop up here in the service. Moving to April 7th, Chinatown Detective Agency, that's cloud, console, and PC. Dragon Age 2, just through the cloud with EA Play, then Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare, also the cloud through EA Play. And Star Wars Squadrons, also through the cloud with EA Play. Moving to April 12th, we have Life is Strange True Colors, that's cloud, console, and PC. Panzer Corps 2 on PC. And then the Dungeon of Naholbeck, that's on PC. Moving to April 14th, this is pretty cool. This one popped up here because I've been kind of playing around with the idea of picking it up, but here it is now showing up in Game Pass on April 14th, and as Lost in Random. That's cloud, console, and PC through EA Play. And just a heads up, April 15th, there will be some titles leaving, and will be The Show 21, cloud and console. Probably not too surprising with MLB The Show 22 showing up. Rain on Your Parade, that's cloud, console, and PC. The Long Dark, cloud, console, and PC. And then Pathway on PC. And then on April 18th, F1 2019, cloud, console, and PC will be leaving. So not too bad here. Again, MLB 22. Good to see that this, I guess, will be a trend going forward. And then I think personally, I'll be checking out Lost in Random when that releases in a week or so. So not too bad to start off April with Game Pass. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Chrono Cross: The Radical Dreamers Edition. It's out tomorrow, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to go about this because I really wanted to play this game, but there's a lot going on currently, and I do have that physical copy that should be shipping out at the end of this month, so I might have to wait for the Switch version that I get physically to get here to start this up. But we did get review scores dropping. It looked like on the PlayStation 5 and the Switch, we had about the same amount of reviews. I think it might have been like one or two more on the PS5, but there, it's about a 77. If we take a look at the Switch page, we can see posting up at an 81. This is on like 13 review scores right now, but we can see the split, 10 positive, 3 mixed. And after I went through most of the reviews, it really seemed to come down to, on either the PlayStation or on the Switch, how much you were expecting Square to do exactly with this game. Now, they did fix up some of the visual style, smoothed out the different models on screen, kind of like what they did with Final Fantasy VIII, where they put a bit more detail in the different character models. And the text itself was also smoothed out, and the font was seemingly set up a bit more for larger displays, whereas if you try to blow up the PlayStation 1 version, yeah, it looks kind of blurry. But that seemed to be the biggest criticism, is like Square could have done a lot more with this remaster slash remake. It's kind of walking that fine line. But one thing that came up, and I was very surprised about this, seemed to be frame rate issues. It's like, what? Even on like the PlayStation 5, there were frame rate issues with Chrono Cross? Some of that had to do with like the fast forward option they had. I guess when you're fast forwarding, going really, really fast through these battles, you could see it got a bit choppy, maybe as it was like skipping over frames, but then even just like kind of going around and just through battles normally, there were frame rate issues. Very, very odd. But everyone who was enjoying this game said, hey, the classic still holds up. So again, I'm gonna be getting the physical copy when that comes in and probably starting it up at that time, as there are a lot of games I'm still just trying to get through, and last thing I need right this second is a JRPG showing up and just sucking up all that time. So later on this month, as we head into May, I think I'll be starting it up there and taking a trip back to the 90s on the original PlayStation with Chrono Cross. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked, are you still playing Halo Infinite? I was very curious to see how many people have kind of moved on from the title, because I see it talked about a lot. It's like 3% said yes, I play several times a week. 7% said yes, but only once a week maybe. And then 34% said no, I moved on, or I'm waiting for new content. And there's 56% of people who said no, I never tried. And hey, I mean, it's still 343 in Microsoft's job to try to get more people interested in the game, which would come through way of updates and word of mouth, and having 34% of people from this poll just saying they moved on completely and they're waiting for new content says a lot about the state of Halo Infinite. I made a video on the second channel just going over some of my thoughts and where the game is now, and really what 343 needs to focus on, which I think is Forge mode. Look, if 343 can't put out the updates consistently, might be time to turn the keys over to the community so they can. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Brandon saying, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess together for $60 would be a good deal. Not for me though, I already got them both on GameCube and Wii U. I mean, might as well just be solid bricks of gold right there. The GameCube version of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker are still pretty expensive. Twilight Princess for a while there was like over $100. It might still be over $100 complete. I think disc only it's like $70 or $80. It's kind of similar with Wind Waker, might be a little less than that. But even on the Wii U, I looked them up and I'm like, wow, these games are still above $60 on the Wii U complete for Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. So yeah, even though they would technically be re-releases or remasters of these games again on the Switch, $60 for both of them would technically be the cheapest way to get these games and experience them. So if nothing else, at least it'd be a more convenient way for people to pick them up, even at $6 for the pair. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike, leave comments down below about everything we talked about here. Today was Crystal Dynamics and Tomb Raider being made in Unreal Engine 5. Are you excited to see what they can do with the new engine? And then also Nintendo and an achievement system. Do you think this, first of all, this firmware update is something playing into that? And do you think Nintendo will eventually implement their own take on the achievement system that Microsoft has, or maybe the trophy system that Sony has? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.